Being a caregiver is not a walk in the park. It demands patience, resilience, and a deep sense of commitment. There are many different types of caregivers, those who look after elderly parents, sick or disabled people, or elderly people themselves. Each type faces unique challenges and responsibilities. Here is a story of one unsung hero, Stephen Mutuku.
My name is Stephen Mutuku Jonathan. I'm the third born in the family where I come from. And I'm a dad, a father of 2 girls and 1 handsome gentleman boy. Actually, some youth gave me a title based on that, and I think I like it. Father 2GB. That is 2 girls and 1 boy.
In April 2016, Nathan was born as a healthy baby, but after 9 months, he developed a medical condition.
We started actually noticing like the circumference of the head was kind of not normal per se. So we would go back to clinic as usual, and then they will just tell us, no, this is just the normal growth of a baby. And of course, the head is supposed to grow, and that is just the size of a baby.
The parents chose to gather confirmation from an alternative hospital, and, well, the results were different.
When the report came back, because this was not going to take long, they said there looks to be an indication of a blockage on the brain, on the skull somewhere. And when inquiring what blockage is this, it's like they were saying one of the ventricles is blocked by what? There's normally a fluid in the head known as cerebral fluid, and it is just like a lubricant for the head. It normally flows in and out, and every person has got this fluid. Then they were saying why the head is swelling is because there is no way out of this fluid.
The hospital performed an intensive scan, and unfortunately, the results after medical imaging were not very encouraging.
The suspicions from St. Mary's, who referred us to do that CT scan, revealed that indeed there was a problem in Nathan's head. And they actually gave it a name we had never heard of, a name that we don't know what it's all about, but they told us it's a condition that there's a blockage and fluid is not going out. And Nathan was barely around 1 year, around a month or so. Then we asked them, okay, fine, so what's the next step? If it's something that you are telling us to move with speed, what are we supposed to do to correct it? Because at that imaging station, clinic, they told us that this is a condition that if not arrested immediately, causes a lot of damage in the brain because the baby is growing. And of course, with all these mixed emotions, we inquired the immediate remedy from them. What really causes, why did it happen to him? And of course, this ones are the imaging, they just take images and they refer you to the experts, not the doctors. But in a nutshell, they mentioned to us that that condition is supposed to be handled or corrected through an insertion of a tube from the brain into the rest part of the body to do the draining, because this fluid is locked inside, it cannot come out. And that piping, actually they call it a shunt. We came to know the details later, that it's called a shunt. Then we inquired with them, so who corrects this? So they mentioned to us, the private hospitals, they do it, most of them, but it's very expensive. On the side, we decided to see what Mr. Google is saying about hydrocephalus. And we realized that this is not just a one-time thing. It is like a lifetime thing, and it has got no cure. It is just something to manage and has a lot of side effects. We read about them, we got scared, we're asking ourselves questions, but then we had to move on with swiftness, and long story short, we booked for admission. So of course they had to book us in, study the modalities of correcting this, arresting this situation. And Nathan that time is so tiny, 1 year, barely 1 year and 1 month, that they're going to operate on him, and there is no any other remedy, there is no any other way of correcting this. And it's like we started asking ourselves questions, God, why? So they had to do their procedures, their processes, and then apparently even before they operated on him, we asked ourselves, and we asked them, could it have been a result of what maybe the mother went through when she was pregnant with him? Because the mother, my wife, Beth, at the first trimester of Nathan, actually she developed some very serious seizures, or what somebody can call convulsions. And she had been put on a long-term medication, and because of the doctor who was seeing her said they could not administer very strong medication. I still remember the name very well. They said because of the pregnancy, they could not actually administer a stronger medicine. So what they administered was phenobarbital. I remember the name so well. And at certain intervals throughout the pregnancy, though my wife was on medication, she experienced other seizures and convulsions, which was also another question we were asking, why somebody is an adult is getting this. Then at so many other breaks here and there, she would suffer convulsions, take her to hospital, the same procedure again, the same medication. Initially it was not a long term, it was just one-offs until the doctors reached a place. So we asked the doctors, when we admitted Nathan, could there have been a relationship between the medication that was happening to my wife when she was pregnant with Nathan? And it's like the answer is the same across the board. They don't know. They can't tell, they can't pinpoint to that. Then some say, some school of thought in the medical world, they say that maybe Nathan's was actually a delayed one. Because having been born normally, there were no signs of it, only to come to discover it later, an year and maybe a month later. So, long debates, we are not getting answers to our questions. We decided, okay, fine, do what you need to do. We signed all the consent forms that he needs to go for the operation. And actually, I will not be graphic on it, but it's just opening up, placed in the skull, and plant the piping at the base of the skull where what fluid should flow out, and all the way down through the skin into the stomach, where it will do the draining. So we thank God that surgery was successful, and we really appreciate the medical world. The doctors, they did what they could. And a few days later, we were discharged with instructions about how to take care of the 2 scars or 2 wounds. On birth of Nathan, the doctor who was treating my wife decided to up her medication and change it, because the convulsions were becoming stronger. Now she was put on a different medication, by the name of Epilin, but lower grams, but later on it was increased. Now, of course the mother needed to do what she needs to do, continuing suckling the baby and what have you. On discharge, we came back home. Now, there were two of those incisions, one on the head and the other one in the abdomen. The one in the abdomen healed so well, but apparently the one at the head took longer, and then at some point it produced some pus, and it caused infection to baby Nathan. And this happened one Sunday, like we were just around 8:30, and Nathan got his first ever bout of convulsion. So we rushed him to hospital. I remember very well it was at Metropolitan. And on seeing him, because you could see his condition, the head was big. So they knew what kind of condition it is, and the doctors could see he has a shunt. But they stabilized him, and they took care of the convulsion, but they had to admit. I think we stayed 3 days. But then it was recommended that since then it's not at Metropolitan who put the shunt, they referred us back to Kijabe, because that conversion had everything to do with the underlying condition. Once that shunt is infected, it cannot be cleaned up clinically while it is still in. So Nathan goes back into surgery, another major surgery, that is to remove the shunt. That is pipe that was doing the draining. Wow, it was too much for us, it was too much for the baby. In fact, I remember at some point the nurses who were administering the medication, they were saying, these drugs are just too strong for this tiny baby like this. In fact, in the process, just as an off the cuff, I realized that even some of them used to be cancelled, because like the interns were saying, they were not going to get married if this is what they're going to get, in terms of baby, because we were put together in the same ward of more serious cases of hydro. So they had to do an external piping out of the head to continue doing the draining as they clinically cleaned the body. And this is through medication, so that they ensure that no infection has been left in the body. Now, apparently, since that first shunt failed, it got infected, there was still going to be another surgery, either to return the shunt, again, after the cleaning up of the body. But we thank God that during that time, I think Kijabe had gotten a surgeon from Uganda, and Uganda, they don't do shunts for such cases. What they do, if the skull of the baby or the patient or the person who needs such a control, they would check if the base of the brain can take this other method. It's a method, I will just give the initials. It's a long clinical name, ETV. Those are the words, ETV. But basically, instead of putting that shunt, that piping to do the draining, they will plant a kind of a valve and the same place below the base of the skull, now to do the draining. It's like a one-way out valve. And after they did the x-rays and they saw, yeah, Nathan's head can accommodate it. And he had to go back in now for the third surgery, barely at 2 months, 1 year and 2 months. But we thank God that, because the pipes, the shunt, we were told eventually they also, even as the person is growing, you'll always be in and out of hospital to check them out because of the side effects. So we went in for the third surgery. to plant the ETV. It went on well, and eventually we were discharged, and we were on our own with the instructions of follow-ups, how we should do therapies on him, on his body, and what have you, exercises and such like. Now on the side, we were checking these other situations because we knew, we were told about the side effects or the milestones that come with hydrocephalus as the underlying condition. And some of them would be things like delayed speech, sitting may be delayed, communication may come or may never come, and we didn't know about maybe the physical aspect of it. So we were checking especially the very obvious signs that our baby should have started walking at a certain period. And then apparently we were in a certain group, in church of couples. And during that season, my wife together with the 3 other ladies actually were blessed with babies almost the same time. These other 3 babies, they started walking, they started moving around, but our baby Nathan was just there. It's like nothing is happening. And then we started looking at the telltale sign, because before the hydro was discovered, because Nathan grew just normally. Before it was discovered, he could kick his feet and what have you. But then this time around, it's like this went off. It diminished. So we started getting concerned, like, we go back to Google, and what we were told, compare notes, that will be another delayed milestone, walking or mobility by himself. But then one moment we reached a place whereby we saw like he was making efforts to crawl. So we thought, oh, it's coming. Little didn't we know that that was just a false hope. So it went on like this, and Nathan's walking never came. 2 years, 3 years. But we thank God that initially we used to support him on the seats with pillows, at least so that he may not fall over and what have you. But we thank God eventually his sitting position came, his spinal cord became firm, and then the speech came. And of course we used to go for follow-up clinic. Now remember, I told you after the 3rd admission, Nathan had gotten his first ever convulsion. Apparently, he got other attacks of convulsion later on, and it's like, not again. And it used to be very, very odd hours. Then it reached a point like the doctors, the pediatrician who was seeing him, he said Nathan will need to be put on a long-term medication also, on the same drugs like the mother was using.
Nathan had a fine motor control condition that caused him to shake.
Initially, it was a bit mild, but we noticed it. Only that later, now in his 8th year today, actually 6 into 7 years there, they became so intense to the sense that even feeding himself, like presently, when he holds a spoon, he would actually need to come closer to his plate to feed himself. That is food. Or he does away with the utensils, he uses his hands. But now for the liquids, it's a big challenge, because you hold a cup like this, you shake, all the tea, beverage, whatever, drink will come out. So we had to improvise, because as we are talking, the doctors actually introduced another medication to him. Presently he was just using Epilim. But now from March this year, he introduced another one, to try control that. We are yet to see the results. But in the meantime, what we are doing, like for his tea, we just put it in a normal bottle, water bottle, with a special valve where to drink from, not the open lid. So at least that one is able to direct his tea direct to his mouth. But then, okay, that's just one area about sorting about the drinks he takes. Or alternatively, if you want him to take something with a cup, you'll have to hold it for him to his mouth. He feeds, then put it to his mouth. That way he'll be able to take care of that.
Nathan was now mature enough to begin attending school. He was now of school age.
We tried to scan around for schools. Of course, we went to several, and they were so willing, they were so very much willing to take him, but in the staff they will tell you, no, we don't have the capacity or capability of taking care of such a kid. But we thank God that eventually we landed one which has got streams for both regular kids and the very challenged, or what people may refer to as people with disabilities. After doing the interview, they said Nathan has got a very high IQ. Taking him to the other side will be actually doing him a disservice. So they decided they're going to put him on the regular class and then assign a teacher from the special unit within the school to cater for his mobility and all that.
I'm teacher Fanis from Buruburu Baptist. I'm Nathan Mutie's teacher. So I like to talk about Nathan. I call him my boy. So Nathan came to this school when he was 5 years old, and I've been with him from PP2 to grade 3. We have really had a very good relationship with Nathan. So like Nathan is a bubbly boy. So when he comes in the morning from the van, even the van before stopping starts waving, hi teacher Fanis. And then we come, I pick him from his wheelchair and then I take him to class. When he goes, we reach our class, he starts saying hi to everyone. He's like a noisemaker, a good noisemaker anyway. He doesn't keep quiet, he likes asking questions, interacting. He rather say wrong answers than saying the right answers, like he wants to participate. He doesn't want to keep quiet. If you ask a question, he's the first one to raise up his hands. Even when you go to the church for the Bible study, devotion, he does all that. So I'll say my boy, let him just refer to him my boy because I'm used to that. I'll say my boy is like a bubbly kid, and I usually don't I usually don't want to show him that start thinking that you can't do this, you can't do this. I try to challenge him. Nathan, right? Nathan, if you want to go somewhere, just talk. Don't rely on someone to help you. And his classmates really love him so much. Like Nathan, we have a timetable here, imagine, for pushing Nathan to the parade, to dining hall. And the kids love it. They don't complain. He's just lovable. In school, he says hi to everyone. Everybody knows Nathan. From the gate to the class, all teachers in this school knows Nathan. Hi everyone, he knows everyone. He's just like a bubbly kid.
He started picking up so well in school, and in fact they didn't start him with the lower grades. They took him direct to a higher unit because they said taking him to baby class, this guy has got a high IQ, we thank God for that, we'll be wasting him. But then somewhere along the line, of course, he needed to be taught how to hold a pencil. And we discovered that, the fine motor shaking challenge is affecting his handwriting and holding the pencil. So that has remained to date a very big challenge on him, a milestone that we are yet to overcome. In fact, I remember at some point we really debated whether we would let him move to the other class. One was because of that, from grade 1 to grade 2. And even right now he's in grade 3. I was still debating whether to let him stay longer in grade 2. The reason why is we discovered that there is another also delayed milestone that we discovered in the process. Nathan can learn the letters of the alphabet, counting, and all that very well. But then at some point, it's like everything just disappears. He's not able to recall, now what was this? What is this that we learned? Like the letters of the alphabet, he would say all of them. He would count 1 up to 50. But then you go back, you start doing a revision, it's like everything looks so strange. Sometimes you'd meet him as a person, you introduce yourself to him, he would get your name from the word go. But then you meet tomorrow again, it's like, you look familiar, what is your name? So we started noticing, also on the side of memory, it's a challenge. Though, again, a very interesting issue, Nathan is a very good singer. He remembers songs, whole songs. He can sing whole verses. So we were wondering, what's the correlation between not mastering his learning and the songs? So he's actually very comfortably, I can use this word, he's differently enabled amidst all these challenges. In fact, there's a time he started singing a song. I thought I knew all the songs. Actually, he taught me, you know, a gospel song. He taught me. I asked him, where did you learn this? From YouTube. And how did you get it on YouTube? Because at some point we started realizing he has got other abilities that, despite the hydro that has delayed his walking, that has affected his handwriting, his fine motor, he has other abilities that we may not have been seeing. He started becoming very bright on the phone, the laptop, the computer. Since he cannot really do so much stuff for himself, because his main challenge is physical, because he cannot dress himself, he cannot take himself to the restrooms, he cannot move around unaided apart from just the little crawling he knew, dressing, eating and all that. We started realizing that this is another phase of our lives, that we are 24/7, 365 caregivers.
The family experienced yet another major setback when Nathan was 6 years old.
Up to the age of 6, Nathan, we as the parents, the closest of the immediate caregivers, it was my wife and I. But my wife also had so many challenges, and sad to say, when Nathan just turned 6, because Nathan was born on 5th of April, just almost a week before my wife's birthday, which was on 27th April, on 21st of April, my wife passed on. And apparently, it was a sad moment. This is a person we took care of, Nathan, together as the immediate. Of course, we could not abdicate this to the sisters. They would help Nathan where they could. But my wife was the other only closest caregiver to Nathan. We are the ones who felt his pain. We feel his pain. And apparently now I'm left alone. My wife passes on. Here I am left with Nathan. And well, I'm grieving. Nathan is here needing care. He's on long-term medication. And he needs to be helped. So the whole weight came back to me. And let me tell you for a fact that caregiving is not a walk in the park. It tests you emotionally, physically, financially, you name it, all round. It is so draining. The fact that, okay, fine, we thank God that Nathan, he's always jolly, he's always happy. But I needed to make him as comfortable as I could be. So his pain, it's me who was feeling it. His comfort, I needed to give it to him. And as I was grieving and as I was taking care of him, I realized that this is not easy. And I thank God that apart from the professional world where when he's admitted, of course, he has people to take care of him in the hospital, back at home, the weight is too much. I've got two other daughters, two children beside him. Big girls, they're in school. They needed my attention. They need my attention to date. They were candidates actually by the time my wife was passing. So I'm handling this, I'm juggling this, taking care of Nathan. I needed to enter into her shoes, take responsibility of what she was doing at all levels. But Nathan needed to be taken care of and moved on. So in this caregiving, there are other folders that I think I need to mention too. There are follow-up clinics for Nathan. Now we used to do the two of us. Now my wife is not there. She's gone, never to come back. She slept. She passed on. I needed now to put myself, take the bull by its horns. Take the whole responsibility like there's no any other person. Because he needed to be going back for follow-up clinics, both by Bethany Kids, which used to happen periodically, because they needed to assess how all their patients are doing. And it's a place that from where we stay, you needed to leave early for you to make it among the first people. So those are times that I determine, okay, fine, I will do this follow-ups. If it is these are the normal clinics for the hydro in his normal hospital, I would be alone doing it. And sometimes we would leave even from our residential area as early as 6 in the morning. Meaning you need to prepare him maybe an hour or so earlier, make sure he takes his breakfast so that we may make it to Westlands APDK for the follow-ups early. And mind you, I'm still working. I'm employed. I need to organize, ask for permission from the office and all this. And then as I moved on, I realized I could just do so much matters caregiving. Because I needed to break, I needed to debrief myself, I needed to stay healthy for the people I'm taking care of, and especially Nathan now, who is different needs, different challenges around the underlying condition. And one person I really need to salute is our nanny. That's the other very of the closest caregiver to my son Nathan. They are big friends. When I'm not dropping him to the school and he's taken by the school van, she's the one who will take care that he's handed over to the school van in good time. When I'm in the office, I don't need to worry, because when the van is bringing him back in the evening, there's somebody in the house, somebody to administer medication in the right doses. And as I mentioned, like, we needed also to do occupational therapy for him. Intermittently, I got a therapist who would come home to do this. So in the process, we also learned how to do therapy for Nathan for the sake of his muscles and what have you. And our nanny also came into the scene and has been doing that also besides me. Now, the larger scope out there, like I mentioned, this caregiving actually affects your entirety, your health, your finances. Because on the other side, here is my wife who has passed on. In terms of an income, now it has reduced to 1. Nathan needed medication cover. And of course, companies are different. I had my own cover. As a family, we had a cover where the previous employer where my wife used to work, it used to cover the entire family, 5 of us. She passes on in 2022, that is in April. There was that cover that was running already from January all the way to the end of the year for the 5 of us and my wife, the previous employer, the last employer. So we were still taken care of in terms of a family. Now, where I'm employed, it only covers the individual, the principal member. Now, in my mind, I had to work very fast. Here is Nathan. His medication cover, I knew was going to come to end at some point. So I needed to be proactive. Come 2023, what will happen? Because I needed to work ahead of time. So, of course, with the talks with the previous employer, of course, we could not continue with that cover once it expires. I've taken my 2 daughters in my cover where I'm employed. I had to pay for that because those are extra under my name. And for Nathan, I also had to pay for him, since now he's no longer covered in this other side. But we thank God there was that continuity. Now, as you would expect with insurance covers, outpatients, sometimes you exhaust it faster than the duration of the cover. So around, I think, November of 2023, it got exhausted. We only left with the inpatient. You can't pray that your baby gets sick so that you may be admitted for you to utilize the cover. Go back to my pocket to pay for his medication. At this time, actually, they were 2, because morning and evening, 2 different types of drugs, because the doctors wanted to drop one and up the other one. Again, back to finances. I've got all the other duties as a single parent, right? And I'm telling you, it started draining me. And it is draining for a fact. Because on the flip side, there are these other facilities you get from the government, but they take time. You apply for them, you be on the government, you expect maybe monies from the government, they take time. Like there's one I need to say, we registered last year in August 2024, right? And nothing has come out of it. The confirmation officers were only sent 2 weeks ago. Anyway, that notwithstanding, I realized that as I moved on, I cannot do this work alone of caregiving. I'm not all over, I'm not God, I'm not omnipresent, so to speak. I need people emotionally to take care and walk with me. As a single parent, as a man, as a father. So I realized that I need to bring people closer to me. People of like-minded. But again, there's always this situation, and men, I think we are normally accused of this, that we are very hard in opening up. We will just push until, no, we are good, we are okay. But let me tell you, for a fact, being vulnerable is not a sign of weakness. Telling out your story out there that, hey, my friends, the heat is too much. I need to be helped. I can just do so much. I can just go so far. The challenges are many. Because here, my other two daughters, they are also in school. Matter is the issue, school fees, and everything that goes with that. There is food. Hey, food is expensive. You know, it is expensive. It is meals being looked at. And you know, the nanny will just send a text that this and this is gone, this and this is gone. So I'm wearing those two hats, and there's Nathan here. So I said, wait a minute, I need to open up. And thank God, God brought people around me and friends that will be, that feel me, that felt me, and they call me another title besides the others that I've told you. They call me MoG, man of God. MoG, you've been part of us. I know you may not want to speak, you may not want to tell us, but all these things that you're doing, you being a praise and worship leader, being in praise, you're always smiling and all this, but of a truth, they pinned me down and I had to become vulnerable. I opened up my story and I said, yes, the heat is too much. And late March 2024, just this year, an idea came to one of them and they said, you are our person. We cannot leave you. We need to take care of Nathan. Nathan is our responsibility. We want to open a fund for him. We will talk to friends around. What fund? Medical fund. How will we call it? Nathan Medication Fund. How will you raise the money? Leave that to us. Now you see, you want to lead us again, and it's us who are telling you what we want to do. So I humbled myself, and this was birthed. Nathan's Medical Fund. From March, talking to friends, here and there, here and there. And they convened themselves into a committee. They formed a group. And the cover for Nathan for 2023, of course I paid it. Now, come 2024, the same cycle again. We are in March. It needs to be renewed. You get the notification, it is due on a certain date. Apparently, that's why I'm saying God is indeed very faithful. It's the time that these friends came up with this idea. They said, tell us what is there immediately. What can we handle right now? So in their capacity as a committee, in March, late March, they renewed the cover for Nathan. Fully. Just a few of them. And then if that's not all, they say that's the first phase. Now, we want to put now more weight on the Nathan's medical fund to ensure that he's sorted, he's taken care of. And amidst them, and amidst all this that we've been doing, talking to people, a major WhatsApp group was formed. I was given the responsibility to look for a pay bill number that will cater for these funds that will be coming in. And believe you me, people have come on board, and in the process they said, we don't want this even to become a medical fund for Nathan. It can even grow up to a foundation. Because for real, when you look at me and many others of my kind out there, most people don't know what happens around caregivers. It is quite draining, and especially besides the emotional part, medicines have become quite expensive, very expensive, and yet they have to be bought. The kids have got to be taken care of. So as we are talking, I have people that are doing the proverbial lifting up my hands, and we are geared to making this even grow, taking care of Nathan to levels beyond just where we were. And of course around Nathan there are other stuff that he needs for, like walking aids. They are generally covered under a heading known as orthosis, you know. Special kind of shoes to cater for his limbs as you continue treating him on this long-term medication. Being a caregiver, personally being one of them, I've realized entails a lot because I have seen it firsthand. After the demise of my wife, I had to step in all these visits, clinic visits, follow-ups, and I've seen so many of my caliber. And apparently, most of them are mothers or ladies who come into those sessions. And at times I used to see people glaring as in, what is this dad doing here? A man. But I've seen it firsthand. It can really be, and it is not easy to be a caregiver. I've seen it firsthand. Of course, the conditions are different from and vary from one person to another. I can name them, but one that I've really come across so many times that causes similar challenges like my boy Nathan has gone through falls under the title spina bifida, and the others who are actually suffering from both spina bifida and hydrocephalus. And the challenges, the milestones are all varied for these cases. I don't need to even to go to details. Some are really very depressing. And as I look at Nathan's fund, I am at least privileged to have friends who can take care of me, who have taken care of him. They became proactive. They came through for me. They came through for us. But my heart pains, my heart pricks when I see these other ladies, these other gentlemen, fathers, caregivers, who are going through very strenuous times. In fact, interesting enough, personally being a caregiver, I was given the honors to take care of the caregivers team in the local church that I attend. And I've met many others too, who are also taking care of other people who need help, who cannot do it for themselves. And the challenge that has come to my heart and the burden is to extend this love to others who are not as privileged as I am. Yes, Nathan, he's getting a medical fund to take him through this. But deep down in my heart, I know, and I know with your help, we can grow this. We can go this fund into a foundation, so that even at our own levels, we can extend a hand. Sometimes somebody just needs a refill of a 1 month's medication, let's say of anticonvulsants. And I am in a group that we share, a WhatsApp group that we share our challenges. And since also personally I'm I feel the pain. I feel constrained finance-wise. I say, if I could get one and one, you that is out there, you as a well-wisher, to come on board and partner and grow this thing into a foundation, just from a mere medical fund, and we can make a change to many other children, to many other people, to many other families, and say, yes, I counted, I touched my generation, I was a voice to the voiceless. Because I've seen so many giving up. I've heard of tales. In fact, there's one time one inboxed me from one of the groups. Me as a man, a mother inboxed me asking me, Steve, I hope I'm not becoming a bad mother. But it's reached a place where I feel like just letting my baby sleep out of this world. And I had to encourage her, hang in there. Using the experience that I've gotten through Nathan, I told her, hanging there, the walking will come, the convulsions will be controlled. But if you and I can partner together and be intentional and say, I can give my 100 shillings, I can give my shilling, I can give whatever I'm able to, we are able to make a difference across the board, even to the voiceless. So I challenge you, I request you, please come on board and partner with us. Partner with us as we move forward. Nathan and I. Thank you.